Right, so with round 6, which is blush, there's not any stitches that you won't have experienced before, I wouldn't think. That's this little round here that we're looking at. It might just be positioning of the yarn to begin with, or as you're working it. That is something to just pay attention to. So I will just help you through that with the first petal, and then I'm sure that will be absolutely fine. So again, we're kind of starting by working behind the flower but keeping the right side facing. So again, this is absolutely fine to just bend the work forward, bend the petals forward, whatever. We're going to start by joining our yarn into one of the chains, by joining it into one of the chains. So we will start here with by pulling up a loop as usual. And this one is going to count as a starting stitch. So we're going to do 1 chain and then 2 chain, and that there is going to start count as our first treble. All right, so we're joined behind the petals with the right side facing, as you can see. Okay, and this is where we just want to be really clear on where to join or where to make our next stitch. So if I show you close to the camera as I can and folding that out the way, we've got at the very base of this stem, we've got the double crochet that we made here, and then we've got the bottoms of the foundation chains that we made for the stems. Again, really similar to what we did in leaf trellis. So we're going to be working into those stitches. Right, so in our pattern we are told that we are going to skip that double crochet. We're not going to be working into there, and we're going to skip 2 stitches on the stem. So no, not going into double crochet, not going into 1 stitch, not going into 2 stitch. We're actually starting here, which is relatively close to the top of the stem. And what you'll see when I fold that back, my hook is kind of at the top of the level of the work. So that's a bit of a guide for you. You're not really going to start anywhere below the level of those petals. All right, so that's where I'm going to be going next, but I'll take my hook back out because I'm actually going to be working some double trebles into that. So I need to wrap my yarn a little bit before I go in there. Okay, so I'm going to go into that third loop that we've just worked out. So double treble is two loops around the hook, and I'll just count it again. So I am skipping the double crochet, skipping 1 loop, skipping 2 loop, and this is my third loop, and that's where I'm going to put my very first stitch on this stem. So double crochet, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, sorry, double treble crochet, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. And we're going to do the same again. So another double treble, so twice around the hook into the same stitch that we've just worked. Yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. And we're going to start decreasing the size of the stitches now. We've started at the widest point, and we're going to start coming down in size now. So we've done 2 double treble in there. We'll do 2 treble into the next stitch. And again, this is UK terminology. So if you're a US viewer, you're just going to have to do those, unfortunately, mental gymnastics, or use the conversion chart in your pattern, and hopefully this will make a bit of sense. But again, I think it's not the stitches so much as the positioning of the first one that's probably brought you here if you're needing to look at this. So 2 treble in there. Where are we now? 2 treble, 1 half treble into the next one. Sorry, I'm reading the pattern as I go. Can you tell? And we'll do the thing that we did before again in leaf trellis and work the 3 double crochet around the end of the little stem. So in that stitch that's kind of sitting horizontal, or the loop that's sitting horizontal, we'll do our 3 double in there and then come down the other side. 1, 2 and 3. And now down the other side of this stem, we're actually working into the stitches as usual. So going under the two strands of yarn. All right, so we start with our half treble. In you go. Half treble, and then a treble. Actually, we do 2 treble, don't we, into this next one? Oops. And 2 double treble into the one after. So we twice round the hook. 1, 2. There we go. I'm just going to stop there and take that out. And you will see what we're going to do is we're just going to anchor that. Actually, let's just anchor that before we do this. We're going to anchor that by putting a chain. We're not anchor it by putting a treble, I'm so sorry, into this chain. So again, I've folded my petal forward, and the treble that I'm going to make to anchor this nice petal down is going to go into that chain. So again, sort of mirrors how we started, doesn't it? All right, let me just take that hook out now and sit that back, and you can see what's happening. We have created the illusion, if you like, that this petal continues all the way behind this level of our crochet. But what we've just created is this really pretty petal that's sort of sitting proud of the layer that we've made before. All right, so it is just a case of making sure to position the first stitch of your petal into the correct stitch on the stem, but there's no problem with that as long as you count carefully, work it in a good light. You should be absolutely fine. Let's just do one more positioning so you can be extra sure where you are. Right, so we're now going to position our first stitch on our second stem. So we know it's a double treble, so we're going twice round the hook. And we know we're going to, so we're going to look really closely. There's my double. And I know it's my last sort of proper stitch, if you like, because there's 2 strands going across the hook. The next one up, if I go into, I can see there's only 1 strand. So I'm missing that one, and I'm missing the one next to it, and I'm coming into the 3rd of those single strand stitches. And they're single strand because they're just the bottom of the chain, aren't they, that we filled up with double crochet to make the stems. So here we go. So that is the positioning. That's what you've got to look out for. And as I said, you're probably entirely familiar with these stitches, so that isn't what's going to cause any kind of grief on this round. It's just the positioning. And hopefully, now we've had a good old close look at that together, you should be fine. So I shall finish up this round. Okay, so I've finished them all and fastened off, and that's round 6. So there's your sort of underlayer of petals done. And if you just look at the back of the work, you can sort of see how you have structured that. So you've joined into the chain spaces behind and just worked just enough enough stitches that you need to give the illusion of that layered petal look. So that was round 6, and we're ready to move on.